Six Nations this weekend just gone. If you didn't see it, Jonny May scored an absolute wonder try against Italy. Now that try was so good that it has sparked a little bit of debate. I'm going to go with Twitter, which is obviously can be a bit of a cesspool. But Nigel Owens is a pretty well-regarded ref, and he's not afraid of jumping on Twitter bandwagon every now and again. So if you haven't seen the try, Jonny May basically in the corner, he jumps up bloody high as a tackle is coming in from the side, and he manages to avoid the tackle and put the ball down. So he's kind of diving up and over towards the line, manages to avoid the tackle in the process. Honestly, thing of beauty try. You won't see many tries better than that one. We saw a few good tries in the Six Nations this weekend, but that was probably the standout. Now, Nigel Owens on Twitter, a few people were asking about it. Jim Hamilton kind of said that he thought it shouldn't be a try, and a few people were questioning it. They're saying that, Jonny May's jumped to avoid a tackle, which is against the laws of the game. Owens on Twitter, he says, if Jonny May dives to score, then it's play on and a try. So if he's diving, just my interpretation of what he's saying, if he's diving towards the try line, then that's a try. No problem. If he jumps up first to avoid the tackle, then it's a penalty. So if he's jumping up as the tackler goes under, that part's the penalty. It's kind of depending on which direction you think his momentum is going, I guess, by the sounds of it. If he's going up to avoid the tackle, if he's going forwards to score the try. In reality, it's probably a bit of both, right? He ends up going up and forwards. So which kind of area do you put it in? He says, so in my humble opinion, it should be no try and a penalty kick to England. That's what Nigel Owens said on Twitter. And, he's pretty well respected, as I mentioned. So obviously a few people will take that as gospel. But rugby being rugby, man, just because there's laws doesn't mean it's an open and shut case. You get Jonathan Kaplan, I think who's probably the second most experienced rugby ref in the world, behind Nigel Owens at international level anyway, says, I don't see any issue. This was a brilliant finish that was quite rightly awarded. He doesn't have any problems with it. It goes on to say, May improvised with a finish straight out of rugby league, and if you've seen rugby league, you'll know they do this kind of finish all the time. Eddie Jones mentioned that they practice. I don't know if he said he's seen it, but he knows they practice their finishing in the corner and whatnot. If we disallowed it, then we would be over-sanitizing the game. And he also mentioned in the article that I read that he's not even sure what law you would be using to disallow the try, because there's no specific law that says you can't jump over a tackle. It's more just about the general idea of what is dangerous play. Now, for mine, I kind of lean with Kaplan on this one, because I would hate to see this kind of brilliant finish disallowed, because it's just such an absolute piece of beauty. If that try gets people talking about rugby, if some kid sees that and decides he wants to be like Jonny May and he wants to play rugby, that's good for the game. And I know at least here in New Zealand, rugby union's got a fair lead over rugby league in New Zealand. But there are a few things that make highlight reel moments better watching for rugby league. Some of those are those tries like Jonny May's one, and some of those are like the big hits. Now, the big hits they do in rugby union now are not allowed anymore. Like those shoulder charges, I think they've been banned in league now too, but a lot higher hits are permitted in league than we see in union. So if you just want to watch a big hits video, it's mostly going to be rugby league tackles, at least here in New Zealand. And finishes like that, I think union, if it's going to get people talking about the game, it's good. Now, obviously, there's a few examples. I found an example. They're pretty easy to find. Just look for great finishes on YouTube and you'll find loads. But there's one, Vince Arsol kind of diving over a tackle in Super Rugby to score against the Sunwolves. That was a proper thing of beauty. Now, maybe he didn't get as high as Jonny May, but it's still, I guess, the same principles. You can look at Sibu Nkosi. I think he's done it a few times. But clearly when a guy's coming in for the tackle, he wants to avoid being tackled and get the ball over safely. Has a wee bit of a jump in his finish. You could argue that he's jumping into a tackle, but I don't know. And then there's one, it's a real classic one. This video, you should see it. It's been viewed hundreds of thousands of times. I should put the links in the description if I remember. Kalamafoni, he just literally jumps into a tackle. Now, that one is dangerous. that one is dangerous because he's like feet flinging in the air, someone's coming head on for him. Whereas the Jonny May and the other example ones, it's not so much a head-to-head context, right? It's like usually somebody coming from the side to try and put you into touch. So, I don't know, man. If you want my 2 cents to be that kind of thing, should be a try. I would hate to see that kind of try chalked off. Obviously, we've got to do what's safe for the game, and we don't want to see people jumping into tackles. But I thought that one, I didn't think it was particularly dangerous. I don't know. What do you guys reckon? The law itself says for dangerous play, players must not do anything that is reckless or dangerous to others. That's open to a lot of interpretation. No physical, verbal abuse, no early or late tackles, no tackling people not in position, scrum and maul laws, lifting people again, scrum and maul, no retaliation, no cavalry charges and flying wedges, kicking the balls out of people's hands, and you're allowed to do handoffs but not with excessive force. So there's nothing there which says you can't jump to score a try. There's nothing there that says you can't even jump into a tackle, but obviously it'd be pretty dangerous to do so. So, I don't know. What do you guys reckon? Was May's try a brilliant bit of finishing, or was it a bit of dangerous play? If Kaplan also talked about if the Italian winger smashes him into touch, if he manages to get him, then he wouldn't have said he's like tackling the man in the air. He would have said that's a fair tackle because Jonny May put himself in that position. I like to think that's kind of a sensible way to rule that one right. But you can't put laws in for every little thing, otherwise the game gets bogged down enough as it is without that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it. What do you guys reckon? Jonny May try? Proper bit of brilliance? Or a bit of foul play that got away with? You guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.